What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Pop Cult Cast, episode number 5, where we tell you everything that's happening within the pop cult. Today, we got a slew of topics between Will Smith and the new Prey movie on Hulu. But first, I had to check in with my co-host, Caleb Sprouse. How you doing today, man?
Oh, dude, I'm doing fantastic. With the
Perfect.
exception of my beard's at the awkward stages of growing out, right?
Yeah.
So my mustache is annoying and my beard looks terrible. And I can't wait for this stage to be over and it's a little bit longer. So
Wait, so stage, did you cut it at some point, or what's happening?
man, I did for an interview that I had. I wanted to look as professional as possible. So
Ah.
I jumped back a few stages and now I'm having to regrow it to get to the point where I can go into barber and say, this is what I want to do. It's long enough to make it happen.
Mhm.
Hate awkward stages, man.
Well, on that point, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm trying to grow a little beard too. I got some minoxidil. Try to use that a little bit on my sides. And it's not like it's coming in, but it's definitely not on your level, right? It's not growing as fast as you. But
Are you shaving every day?
not every day. That's what I'm supposed to
I,
do?
yeah, the more you shave, I feel like the thicker and thicker it becomes.
Yeah,
Like
because I
I
don't
know
want to cut
some
it all the
people say,
way. Yeah, I don't want to cut it all the way. I want to do like sort of like the stubble and then let it
mhm.
grow. That's what I want to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm,
It's gonna be so fulfilling whenever you get to the point where you're like,
exactly.
yep, this is what I
That's
wanted.
gonna be sick. But other than beard talk, we got some topics to get to. First, we're going to jump back into the future a little bit. We talked about Joker 2, well, I believe the first and second episode. It's official that Lady Gaga will be in Joker Folly I Do. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I don't think her role is officially Harley Quinn, but we can all assume that that's what role she's going to play. But yeah,
It is
it's
official.
official. It's coming out
It is
October
official.
23rd, 2024. I think that's the date.
Yep.
Yeah,
2 years.
2024, man. That's forever away. Yeah,
Probably
but
haven't
we
even
are
started
excited.
filming yet.
Probably not. It's just like they're all just in that hype train. Everybody's talking about. Let's just go ahead and put it out there and get everybody excited. But like, yeah, 2024, 2 years wait. We talked about this a little bit. I believe we were all excited, but I know, Kayla, I know you wanted to talk about some aspects that you were excited for.
Yeah, I want to eat this L real quick. And hit on my lack of creative thinking whenever we spoke about this before because we found out that Joker 2 was supposedly a musical.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, that's so stupid. Why would they do that? And Lady Gaga's casting in Harley Quinn made me realize there's a lot of different angles you could take this. Like in Harley Quinn's insane mind, the world could be a musical. And who
Mhm.
else would you want to do that other than Lady Gaga? Gifted musician, now also stellar actress. Like, my goodness, she's as talented as people like Donald Glover, like a jack of all trades, getting into
Right.
everything and crushing it. And yeah, I think that this is absolutely a killer choice. I think it's going to work out. We're going to see something pretty awesome, I feel like, in 2024.
Right. And we all know that by Joker and some of his other projects that Joaquin Phoenix can damn near pull everything. He has the range. But I was wondering if you knew any movies or shows that Lady Gaga was in that really showed how insane she can get. If she could really summon that Harley Quinn out of her.
I feel like she can. Like, I know she was in American Horror Story
Mm-hmm.
and did a great job, but I think what gives me the most hope is her role in A Star Is Born. That really showed me that if she wants to get serious and do some high quality acting, she absolutely can. And I wouldn't doubt we see her win an Oscar as like a best actress or something like that in the future. Like, she's very talented. So I think this role is something that's just going to propel her to even more stardom, but
Mm-hmm.
outside the musical sense in the film world.
Right. You know if she like has she ever won an Oscar before?
I think she won an Oscar for the music in A Star Is Born.
Okay.
But I don't know. I never really like give musicians credit because it seems like every time a high profile musician records a song for a movie, they automatically win. And it's like I feel bad for the composers that do
Right.
do the
Mhm.
scores most of the other time. It's like, sorry, Adele came in and did the theme song for James Bond this year. You lose.
Can I just say real quick that I listened to that Adele Skyfall song damn near annually at this. Like, it's so good.
Oh my
Man,
goodness, it's
I love
amazing.
that song so much. And like a little bit of the Billie Eilish one for which one was it? No Time to Die.
Hmm.
Man, I love
Dude,
how
they're
like
all amazing.
right. And I love how with every James Bond release, there's always that new it girl that they always just put on those songs and just makes a complete show out of like their skills, right?
You're right. It is absolutely a show. Like whenever you go see a James Bond film, they have those like 3 minute long opening credit scenes that has the new song that plays, and they have the interesting graphics that you can just kind of melt into. And
Mhm.
it's an experience, and they always get somebody that's at the top of their game in the music industry. I think they had Shawn Mendes before Adele, and Adele, then Billie Eilish.
Right.
You know, really talented people, sparing no expense.
Exactly. Well, I want to get your rating on how excited you are for the new Joker. Out of 5, how excited are you? How prepped or hyped are you?
Lady Gaga brought it up to a 5. I'm hyped,
Nice.
man.
Yeah. I would say about the same. Yeah. It's just that 2 year wait. It's like, God damn, like 2 years? That's going to take forever. But usually, like, when you get up to that point, you're like, wow, that was only 2 years. Once you're sitting in that seat, you're like, oh, 2 years ago, I was like, this is going to take forever. And now I'm here in the moment.
I kind of wonder, do they even have the script ready? Like, what if they cast
No way.
Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn before the script's even finished? They
Actually,
do that
I
kind
say
of stuff
no
all the
way,
time.
but do you know the director for Joker? I forgot his name.
Wasn't it Todd Phillips?
I believe so. Yeah, and I remember the original hype around this is that he had a little script ready. Like it had like the whole like
Mhm.
Joker thing, like the whole like layout going. So I think they do have at least something like cooked up. But
I'd hope so. I got to ask you this though. We just saw the Batman with Robert Pattinson come out this year. I give it a solid B minus rating.
okay.
Much better than the Snyderverse everything. Dealing with Batman, I was
Well, hold
very
on.
happy.
Snyder, do you think it's better than the Snyder cut of Justice League? Oh man, I don't.
Dude, I know you love the Snyder cut, but Justice League was so bad
Well, yeah, the first one was
that
terrible.
I would amount the Snyder cut to just a very fine polished turd. And I
Damn,
know that's like brutal, but like
that
the
is yeah, it's
Justice League
harsh.
was ass. As a matter of fact, I just want to go on the record and say I hate the DCEU and what they've done with it. It's
Wow.
so terrible. Anytime I hear like, oh, the new Wonder Woman, I should be excited for Wonder Woman. I should have
Mhm.
the same excitement that I had whenever it was first announced. Gal got it. Wonder Woman coming out, and I went into cinema like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited to finally see a live action Wonder Woman in this day and age.
Mhm.
All that excitement is gone. It died with Suicide Squad. I watched the
Wow.
Justice League and I was like, I knew it. This was terrible. And then the Snyder Cut came out, and I'm not going to say the Snyder Cut was terrible. I'm not
Mhm.
going to say that. I will say it's average. But there is just
Wow.
fundamentally problems with that universe that, not even Ezra Miller can save us.
Yeah, we know Ezra Miller needs some saving. But I wanted to ask you though, is wait, so did you think the Batman was also just an example as to why the DCU is kind of failing, or was that one of the shining moments for you?
I'm not going to say the Batman was a shining moment. It was just a breath of fresh air after going through the DCEU for so long and hoping that they could resurrect these characters. Because I feel like maybe you would agree with me on this. Like the DCEU should be crushing it. Like if the MCU is doing good, think about the IPs they have. They have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Like, dude, I never even really thought of Iron Man until that movie came out in
Right.
2007.
Mm-hmm.
You have very established IPs with great lore to dig into. Of course, you can kill it. Christopher Nolan killed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can do it. And I just feel like they haven't delivered. So the Batman to me was that moment where I was like, oh, thank goodness we can get some quality storytelling, some quality acting, non gimmicky stuff with the Batman and its character again.
Right.
So I enjoyed it actually. I'd say Batman was C plus B minus somewhere around there.
Okay. Well, yeah, and it's like we had to kind of look back at the whole DCU like lead up and like how they sort of wanted to launch their thing, and like you can tell that they tried really hard to sort of just like fast track that 10 years of build up that the MCU did, and like what they did in like what a few years until we got the Justice League, and it's like that just wasn't going to work out, and that's why I like the Snyder cut of Justice League so much because like in that 4 hours that it was allotted, like I think you did a really good job trying to establish those characters more so that when it comes to
Mhm.
that final fight, like an Endgame or Infinity War, that it just really works. And like the whole thing with like the Flash, like having like to like essentially they died and they had to go back in time to like reverse, the time stuff so they can do it again. It's like they were just so epic, and we're gonna talk a little bit about this in another topic, which we're probably got to get to in a second. That like I think they're coming back with a plan, and they just fumbled really hard in that first couple of years. So I have faith in DCU. It's in my back of my head. I'm like, I really hope that they do come back, and I don't want them to overtake MCU because I don't want them to fall into the same trap that MCU is doing and release a project every month. But I'm rooting for DCU 100%. But I did want to ask a question though, real quick. Have you watched the Harley Quinn HBO show?
Oh, absolutely. It's hilarious. It's
Okay,
fantastic.
Yeah, I watched the first couple of seasons, like, bruh, that is hilarious. Like, it's so funny.
It's amazing that I had no idea what that show was going to be like until I watched it, and they're dropping F-bombs and like there's gore and stuff. And I was like, okay, this isn't what I expected. And obviously Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are just such lovable characters in that. Can't help but root for Harley. I think that's probably my actual favorite depiction of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, because like
by far,
where we're gonna get in Joker 2 is probably gonna be more serious. Like this is just it's just a funny comedy that's just like so raunchy that it's refreshing seeing, right?
Oh yeah, and you can't help but root for her because Joker's so terrible.
Right.
Like you realize, like I feel like people always romanticize that relationship. They did the whole Suicide Squad, like, I want that to be us. And it's like, dude, Joker is literally abusive towards her. He's making her insane. Like
exactly.
She was a respected doctor, and then she met this dude with green hair, and it all went south.
Right. Push her into that vat of Joker juice. It's like it is like, yeah, he like just really does not give a crap about her. Right. Yeah, I find it interesting that you brought it up because I sure remember that span of time, and it's still now like people like romanticize that like toxic relationship. It's like, ugh, I don't think you want a Joker type dude. He will literally kill you for his own benefit. Like,
no, you definitely don't want that. I do want to talk about this though. The Batgirl movie canceled. You mentioned earlier that they kind of rushed everything that the MCU did. They just wanted to get the payoff of, an Avengers style movie with Justice League. So they, rushed through everything. But apparently they said one of the reasons Batgirl was canceled is it didn't fit into a 10-year plan that they're working on now for the DCEU. So maybe they've learned from their mistakes and they're going to get serious about making something that can make money.
Exactly.
I feel like it could, dude. Like, think about it. We're getting to that point where the MCU is a little stale to us. Let's say we get a nice little soft DCEU reboot and it's solid, like it's great. I feel like it could take that mantle a little bit and it probably wouldn't feel like, oh, another superhero movie. It would be something different in a way. Yeah, it is a superhero movie, but I could get behind it if they start crushing it.
Now that you bring it up, like, I think it'll be so sick, like, because we don't know really a lot of details about the new Flash movie coming out, especially with all the Ezra Miller situation going on. But like now I'm thinking about it, what if like in that situation, like they have a sort of resetting event that they could do with the Flash, like the whole he goes back in time and then he like does the whole Flashpoint paradox where like they're in a whole different other like universe or time point or whatever. And it's like I think that would be a really good point to reset it and kind of just do over again. But I don't know if DCU is like really trying to push for that. So
no, it seems like they want to kind of keep some continuity because I've heard that Ben Affleck is back and they seem very committed to Ezra Miller despite everything that's going on with them right now. I think they're under arrest right now, if I'm not mistaken, in Vermont. Like they're sitting in a county jail or something.
Right.
And Shazam seemed to do moderately well in comparison to everything else, and we're already working on I think the third movie for it because Black Adam is part of Shazam, just standalone. So that's 3 movies with a sequel. Like I don't think they just want to throw in the towel. They're willing to retcon as much as they need to, maybe, or just power through it and say, hey, these other movies were not strong, but we're about to give you some quality to make up for it.
Right.
We'll see.
And while we're here, let's go ahead and do a quick check on our, impressions on one, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Black Adam. What are your thoughts on those little quick trailers that we got for those movies?
I would be so excited for Black Adam if The Rock wasn't in it.
What, man? Come on.
I'm
I
a
was
Rock
watching that.
hater right now.
Dude, I was watching that trailer. I'm like, dude, this looks sick. And usually I'm just like, man, like I wish The Rock was out of stuff too, but like, he just kind of fits the Black Adam sort of like just macho man, like he's just like ready to get down.
Dude, the reason why I'm so mad at The Rock for being in that movie is he's marketing it in the weirdest ways ever. Like,
Mhm.
The Rock is such a hype man on Facebook talking about like nothing like this has ever been done. When I talked to the people on set, they said this is a first time. We're bringing you some raw character. And it's like, Rock, you can say things like that when you do one movie that gets over a 7 on an IMDb rating or over a 60 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, then
Mm,
you can talk about like, breaking the mold. But until then, he's just an action hero to me.
mm.
But not even like, I don't know,
Like
like I
that
love
one.
The Rock and wrestling, but like
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger and Stallone had good movies.
Mhm.
Where is that like critically acclaimed film by The Rock?
Right. I feel you. But yeah,
But what was the other one you wanted to know about outside of Shazam?
um, it was Shazam, Fury of Gods, and Black Adam. So
Oh, I didn't talk about
yeah.
Shazam. I even answered my own question. Shazam, I'm hyped for it, actually.
Really?
I would give my hype a 4 out of 5.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just gonna go to the cinema and see where it takes me. I thought the first one was, much better than other DCU stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll roll with the punches and see how this one does.
Yeah. For me, I hated Shazam 1. Like, and I hate to be that person that's just like, I hate like kiddie stuff, but like, cause I feel like, cause I like a good little Disney movie here and there. I like feeling a little wholesome from time to time, but like, I don't know, like the way that they portrayed it in Shazam just felt very. Actually, here's the thing: I love the beginning of Shazam. I loved how they got the superpowers and they went instantly to social media. It's like that's something that Zoomers would do, instantly. But like
Mm-hmm.
somewhere during that movie, it just like it really fell apart in terms of like tone. It felt a little too goofy. And with this
It was
Shazam,
very goofy,
yeah,
yeah.
and with Shazam Fury of the Gods in this trailer, like they are double downing on that goofy. It seems like so. It's while it's it's still going with the stuff I hated with Shazam. The first one is like I'll give it a watch when it's on HBO Max. I'm not gonna see it in the theaters, but
I feel like this one's gonna do a little bit better for me because I can never get over the fact that, it's an adolescent boy that's in the body of a man, attracting women. Like that's just such an odd, like, I don't know.
right.
Like you've seen that movie Big with Tom Hanks, right? From way
I don't
back
think I
when.
have.
Yeah, he's like a kid that's like prepubescent and he wants to become a man, so he turns into Tom Hanks or something like that. And literally he gets laid. He
Oh
gets
my
laid, dude. And
gosh,
it's so cringe. Like at the end of the movie, the
it's
woman
so
that
cringe.
he's with, yeah, dude, the woman that he's with watches him transform back into a little boy. Like at the end of the movie, it's just so uncomfortable to think about. Be like, okay, I guess, I guess it was an
That'd be kind of funny if they
enjoyable
made a
film experience.
right. I wonder if I don't know if DCU would have the balls to do that, just to make a reference to that movie. I don't know if that was a critically acclaimed movie, but like if they sort of like did a little like not a recreation of that scene, but like sort of hinted towards it. I don't know, but I think that would be kind of a little definitely messed up, but a little funny though.
Dude, I gotta know if it was a critically acclaimed movie now, because I think
Right.
it
I never heard of it.
was.
What's it called again?
Big.
Big. And who was in it?
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Okay.
Yeah, he's the dude that's actually a child that, makes it with a corporate CEO or something like that.
It came out in 1988. Yeah, this is old as hell.
Yeah, it got nominated. It won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, Tom Hanks.
Wow.
So the Academy loved it.
Well, speaking of DC, let's keep this DC train rolling. So
I'm with it.
DC and Discovery is doing, or not DC actually, sorry, Warner Brothers and Discovery is actually merging, and in that merger with I think Warner Brothers owns DC. With that collaboration, there's some stuff getting canceled. So it's come out that Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt has been canceled. And the thing that makes it so interesting is that these films were pretty much done, right? And like the budget was set, or the budget has been made, and like I'm sure everybody was paid out already, but I think Batgirl started with like a $75 million budget, then it got scaled up to do a 95 million or 90 million. And also had Michael Keaton set the star in it, and it just vanished, right? And apparently has nothing to do with the quality of the show, but in terms of David Zaslav of I think he's the president of DC Discovery now.
Mhm.
He said that it just didn't fit the vision of what they want to do with the DC. And you brought up just a little bit earlier that they have a 10-year plan, a vision that sort of emulates the MCU. So I'm sort of, and that's my biggest nightmare with this DCU. I just did not want them to follow the MCU skeleton. I would, in my perfect world, I would love them to follow more as the Snyderverse sort of structure where, like, make 4-hour epics, right? Make me sit, or well, definitely, like, because with the Snyderverse, I wasn't sitting down for that whole 4 hours. Like, it was a thing where I could put down and pick up at my own leisure because it's on the TV. And I think they have such an incredible outlet with HBO Max. And while like the theater experience is like people want that, I think DCU really needs to establish what they want to do that's different. And with this MCU, with this 10-year plan that's emulating the MCU, they're just doing more of the same, which I don't know about anybody else, but I definitely don't want the DCU to, homogenize themselves. So I'm curious on what you think about this whole situation going on.
I have no idea what their vision is, but I think part of me, deep down, just a small fraction, wonders if Batgirl being canceled will be miraculously uncanceled in the coming months and release, and canceling a very finished film is a little bit of a marketing ploy. Manufacture some rage, get people tweeting like, "How dare you cancel the woman-led film?"
Right.
So they can be like, "Oh, well, we learned from our mistakes. We're releasing this now, so you can go to theaters." Because, like, looking at the promo pictures of that film,
look dope.
I'm gonna be honest, it does not look good.
What? I think it looked pretty dope.
No, God,
wow.
No. It looks so corny, like so corny. Her suit was it looked like the cartoon versions of the suit, and like from the films, I'm expecting a little bit more. So I was wondering, like, all I could think is, like, is this tonally like Tim Burton's movies? Because it is Michael Keaton's Batman.
Right.
And think about how that would play in the modern age. Like Tim Burton's Batman films, I love them, but I feel like they were from a certain time.
Yeah.
100% goofy today, and a lot of it just would not work. And that was the vibe I got. I mean, it was Michael Keaton in the film. So maybe that happens, but I do think if that's not the case, there's going to be outrage regardless, because, people wanted to see a Batgirl film. They wanted to see Brendan Fraser, have a role because a lot of people support him because he's been through a lot of stuff. And a lot of people wanted to see Michael Keaton as Batman again because of childhood nostalgia or from when they were younger. And maybe Flashpoint isn't enough. Like, I know Michael Keaton is in the new Flash movie, but why not have 2 new Michael Keaton Batman renditions? So I think it's so crazy to do this. And I feel bad, honestly, for the people that worked on those projects. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Crappy feeling, I'm sure.
Right. And it lends itself to like my ideal vision of the DCU is that I really wish that they would have focused on each project being their own little outworld story, like have it be its own universe in one film rather than the universe in a bunch of films where you had to keep up with it. And this seemed like a perfect film for that. Be bold, right? Have that Michael Keaton Batman in this one film, have Robert Pattinson Batman in one film, and have Ben Affleck Batman in one film. Like, I think that's so dope to me because it's always a refreshing moment going into a new DCU project. But I did want to add one more bit of information that just got announced, is that the development has slowed down apparently on DC films, including Static Shock, Supergirl, Green Lantern Corps, and Ta-Nehisi Coates' Superman. So yeah, it's like
they were gonna reboot Superman.
Apparently, I've heard this news way back that they wanted to do a Ta-Nehisi Coates and Superman thing. It's like, I mean, my opinion aside of whether or not I would want to see that, it's just like, seeing those projects slow down too is like, I'm scared that those are going to get canceled now. It's like, yeah.
Somebody owes Henry Cavill an apology. Like, that dude looks like the ideal Superman. And I feel like this is just not it. You're talking about, how they should have done the DCEU. And I got to be real with you. I've always thought the best path forward was to include the Dark Knight trilogy in the DCEU.
Really?
Like, think about this. All right. So when The Dark Knight Returns hit theaters, I saw the trailer for Man of Steel in the cinema for that film.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it came out 1 year after. After Man of Steel, I think essentially Man of Steel 2 was Batman versus Superman,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Well, Man of
And
Steel, I
Batman
think it
versus
was Suicide Squad first before Man of Steel. Oh no, actually, hold on. You said Man of Steel and then what next?
Batman versus Superman.
I think Suicide Squad was before Man of or
Maybe
Batman
about like a
versus
few months, but I don't think it was too far ahead of
Okay,
it.
right.
But Batman versus Superman, the whole premise is Batman is this, grounded to earth human being that's just so disillusioned that this god fell from the heavens and the world is very alien to him now. No pun intended. Think about how well that would have worked with the grounded in reality tone set with the Dark Knight. Like shit, you didn't even need to bring Christian Bale back for it. Have JGL Batman with the stupid name Robin. Let him like get absolutely floored, useless, beat down during Man of Steel. Like Zod, shows him up. He's going to, the hospital with terminal injuries, anything like that. So the premise of Batman versus Superman feels more real because you would also be like, yo, what the hell? So Batman was running the show and now this dude's a god. And I feel like it could have worked and you would have had all that established lore to like just jump off from.
Right. I feel you.
Like, I feel like it could have worked and we missed that opportunity. Granted, I know some people out there think I'm speaking blasphemy because the Dark Knight trilogy was very, very grounded, very hard to say. Yeah, there's a dude named the Flash and the Green Lantern in this universe the whole time.
Right. Well, I'm curious now, is like, are you more of a fan of the whole connected universe, like the connected stories to each movie, or do you want those separate projects? Because like, with connecting something like the Dark Knight to the greater DCU, I mean, there's some people with that, and connecting those with different characters and different movies, like you said, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt being in, Batman vs Superman, would that tarnish the name of the Dark Knight trilogy more or less? Because I think to me that would. So that's why I would love for everything to be a sort of separate thing. Yeah,
I think you could do both. Like shit, we've seen post-credit scenes work for Marvel in keeping some form of continuity, little references here and there to let you know you're still in the same universe without totally breaking an individual film. And I think that is important. I think that's kind of why the MCU is starting to feel so is everything is super connected, and I feel like they want you to know. Like, hey, did you know you're watching a movie that includes the Avengers? Or somebody from the Avengers is like, yes, I knew that when I bought my Doctor Strange ticket. So yeah, I feel you because you don't want to watch bad standalone films. You don't want to go watch Thor: Love and Thunder.
Ooh,
And
you bringing that up, that's perfect because I don't know if you knew, because I sure didn't know until today that the Groot series came out on Disney Plus. I came out, I believe, on what day is it? It came out sometime today. Probably yesterday. It's Wednesday today, right? That we're recording. Yeah. I think it came out either today or yesterday or something. I'm like, bro, I had no idea. And it's like, is this something I have to watch that will have some sort of tie-in to some random thing that's going to happen 5 years from now? It's like, that is so draining. And it's like, I do not want to do that at all. But yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, it looks like it just came out today.
And I'm sure as hell I'm not going to watch it either. Like, I'm not watching it.
Still recorded all of his dialogue for Marvel's I Am Groot shorts in a ridiculous amount of time. That better be like an hour.
That has to be satire, right? Because like I was thinking about that when you were talking about how they spent so much. They probably spent a lot of money doing like Adele and Billie Eilish for the soundtrack of the James Bond films. Like, bro, why did you need Vin Diesel to voice Groot? Is that just like star power to get people in the theater? Or like, it's just like you could have got
been like somebody's son, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
The director
they could have gone to
like,
the MCU,
right?
They could have gone to like an MCU show and like picked out literally anybody from that crowd to say, "Hey, you want to play with Groot?" But no, they want to get.
Imagine if they would have done something like that.
That'd be cool, right?
Hire Mr. Beast.
Oh my god!
Like, can you imagine? All right, behind me is this challenge. If you win, you will voice literally Groot in the MCU. The people are like, oh, absolutely, like it would be awesome. I would watch. Yeah, I would watch that.
That'll be lit. But speaking of lit, Will Smith got a little bit lit up by the internet from his smacking on July, or actually, back, with the whole Oscar situation when he slapped comedian Chris Rock. But on July 29th, he recently resurfaced with a video called "It's Been a Minute," where he addresses to the public eye about the whole slap, what's been going on in his mind, and is answering a few questions. But before we started the podcast, me and Caleb were talking a little bit about it, and it sounded like you didn't like the apology too much. All right, maybe I was reading too much into it. Tell me about it.
No, man, I almost like when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, like many other people that, were not involved in this whatsoever. I took like a personal offense. It's like, yo, that man just slapped Chris Rock. What did Chris Rock do? Like, it's Chris Rock, who hates Chris Rock enough to hit him?
Mm-hmm.
And Will Smith's apology came months later, and there's already reports like trickling out saying that he didn't really want to do it or he didn't mean it, things in that regard. And it's like, Will, you're making yourself look bad. And I'm not trying to say I'm team Chris or team Will.
Right.
Type dynamic. Like, I think Will Smith is one of the best actors of all time. And Chris Rock is a fantastic comedian, done great comedic films. And I appreciate what both of these men have done. So it sucks that there's that animosity now, but it cannot be understated. Will fucked up really bad. And that was so embarrassing for Chris. I felt so bad. Like, how you must feel to get slapped in front of millions of people watching and not be able to do anything about it. Like, to be, have your power taken away in that sense, your agency. That's so embarrassing. And not apologize till like 3-4 months down the line. Like, come on, man. Like, that's no good. But what'd you think?
I think it's very interesting that you said, or you alluded that it was kind of uncalled for, right? I think it's kind of ironic that, we're in a society where we always want to protect, our loved ones, especially women, right? And I just think it's very ironic that, because I remember I was asking everybody after that situation, what would you have done? Like, how would you have handled the situation? I'm like, I think the natural thing for a man is, to protect their woman, protect their family, right? At the end of the day. And it's like, I felt in that moment so kind of connected, because like, even if I didn't want to do that to another man because he insulted my wife, the fact that one, in that relationship, that if someone talks about you, you're talking about me as well. And then going, maybe if he did, I think in the video he said that that Jada didn't tell him to go do that or something around those lines. And it's like, I'm sure they looked over, he saw that she was kind of disappointed a little bit. And you're like, you know what? You are disrespecting my family. You're disrespecting my legacy. I'm going to go up there and slap you. And to me, it's like, even though, violence isn't the thing, is like, I feel that character flaw, it can be in a, if you want to consider it a character flaw, it can be in a lot of us. And yeah. And I wanted to ask you, you being a married man, it's like, how would you have handled that situation? You have a unique perspective of this podcast.
Well, I feel like, it's one of the situations where you can see yourself on both sides. Like, you could see yourself equally in the position of Chris Rock, where you said something was offensive and somebody like takes it out on you and like slaps the crap out of you. Or, like you're asking me now, like, to put myself in Will's shoes. And I got to say, like, my wife's a Latina and I live in Missouri. There's definitely been snide racist comments, and you can't just handle it with violence, even though God knows, like, I've really wanted to with some of the awful things that I like. She came home and said, "Hey, somebody told me this at AutoZone." And it's like, what? That's horrible. And I would hope that the situation would be better if I was there. But Will was there. So what do you do in that situation when you feel like your wife is insulted? Well, Chris is telling a joke, as part of a bit. That's how the Oscars rules. So maybe like if he would have stood up and walked up to Chris, just leaned in and said, "Hey man, like my wife's dealing with a medical problem, like can you please not," and just sat back down, I would bet money Chris would have been like a real guy about it. I feel like he would have been cool with it. And I can't feel like Will's anger in that moment was just from that joke alone. Like, that struck me as there's a lot going on with this man right now, where he's conflicted and he lashed out in a moment of weakness. And that's why, I never supported any of the crap to like cancel Will Smith. Like that's dumb.
Yeah.
He made a mistake. It's not like he actually committed like a egregious crime, like pull out a gun and shot somebody. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he slapped a person. It was a bad moment, really bad moment. But I feel like there's got to be room to let him deal with whatever he needs to. I'm not saying by hit anybody, but like from this and whatever was eating at him. Like we saw in the
Mhm.
acceptance speech, he had a lot going on. It seemed like he's talking about, the devil comes to you in your lowest moments. Like that's kind of unorthodox for an acceptance speech.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it seems like he was just like plagued with some problems. So I definitely have understanding and empathy towards him and understanding how he would be upset. But
Mhm.
should have reacted that way? And could you get me to say, yeah, definitely hit that guy?
Yeah.
God, no.
Right. And I remember recalling to that night, I was, everybody was probably scrolling through Twitter looking at the memes and like what's going on. It's like, I remember just people saying that like, oh, what is this animalistic behavior or whatever? Like, there's these really just weird like undertones of like, a little
Yeah,
subtle,
that's
little
some
racism.
coded language.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm just like,
that's some coded language.
I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, I just feel like there's maybe I'm just projecting, but I just feel like anybody can just feel that sort of like inner nature that just to protect someone that you love in a way. So for you to like just berate this man that he's doing that, well, and you touched on a great point that like there's some loaded emotions to that situation. Like I'm sure like the whole thing with the red table talk and his relationship with his wife. She's not to speak about her character, but like she's had affairs or entanglements with a man that Will Smith took into his home for a minute, right? August Alsina. It's like you have to kind of speculate that there's something is going on with the family dynamic and something with his wife, and it's
Hmm.
I just feel like it's very I don't want to call it odd, but there's just not enough sympathy there to really look at his situation and like seeing those comments back at that night that you just can't really just kind of give the man some leeway. He got his, and then on top of that, the whole impact of it was the whole like you're getting your career taken away, like you're not going to get roles, and then how much it probably impacted his career as like a social media man, a movie man, and at the end of the day a family man. So I did want to ask, like at the end of the day, seeing how much that was taken away from him, whether or not you think the apology was genuine or not, do you think it was necessary for him to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like I said, it's super embarrassing for Chris. Like that's the kind of stuff that makes you end up getting up to slap somebody is being slapped yourself. Like
Mm,
he just had to sit there and take it. And I remember the look on Chris's face because it was a sad thing to see that he was, having to struggle with, hey, that just happened and I
right.
have to somehow own it and keep this show going because, the producers backstage are counting on me to be Chris Rock, the, charismatic comedian that can handle this type of adversity. And that's just a crappy situation. I
Mhm.
definitely respect that. Apparently, Chris told Will after the apology that he will reach out to him when he's ready. Like,
Right,
I definitely respect that.
for sure. Um, well, going to our next topic, I want to talk about some happenings around Rockstar and GTA 6. So recently on Twitter, it was announced that GTA 6 will, so we know GTA 6 is coming. It makes a lot of money. I forgot what the last report was on how much GTA 5 made, but it's well in like I think like 100 million or some crazy number like that. Like GTA is such a cornerstone of the video game, landscape.
Hmm.
And now
Yeah.
new news about GTA 6 coming out that it's likely 2 years away. And the biggest thing that gamers freaked out about is that it's going to be a female protagonist for the very first time in GTA's history. And while she's accompanied by male protagonists, I heard that's supposed to be like a storyline between Bonnie and Clyde sort of dynamic. But like I said, gamers are angry. How surprising, right? Um, just to me, I think it's kind of ridiculous because one is like, come on, like let's at least give it a try. But in a way, I can sort of see where they're coming from, in that I feel like nowadays it kind of sort of feel agendizing to like it's kind of weird because I was looking at this tweet by Alana Pierce. She's a video game journalist, and she was sort of like belittling people that were kind of. I can see you belittling people that were outrageous, but like sort of people that were ready to come into the conversation and talk sort of back and forth about it. that it's like, oh, you're mad that a woman is in the thing and you're calling it political. And to me, like, I feel like I don't like to use the term political or really even agendizing, but I feel like it's saying something that out of GTA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're just getting 6. Now we're just getting a female character in a landscape where we're getting, the She-Hulks, the Black Widow movies, like, women-led films, which isn't bad. It's just you can put those connecting points there to like why it's happening now. And I remember going back to, I don't know if I saw this online. I forgot how I got this information. I remember Kevin Feige talking a little bit about Black Widow and just saying that how that movie couldn't have been successful back in the day because that landscape just wasn't as accepting to women as it is now. So I'm kind of conflicted in a way, saying like, does it feel sort of pandering that they're wanting to do this now, and that it's acceptable to do it now? Or like if they would have done it back in the day, it would have been like, okay, you're brave enough, you want to tell a story about this character that just so happens to be a woman. And at the end of the day, like, think about my own, race and like how I'm a marginalized person. Looking back to stuff like Spider-Verse, right? I love that movie so much because I think the biggest problem that our media runs into nowadays is that you're making a caricature around, a marginalized group rather than making a character, right? I want you to make a character first and not make the character around their culture in a way, if that makes sense. But I'm curious to know what you think. Am I tripping that I consider see that pattern and maybe it's like problematic, whatever, that there's sort of, yeah, go ahead.
I don't think it's necessarily problematic. I think it's just reflecting how some of these spaces, like, the video game industry, are becoming more diverse. So that means that there's going to be more diverse storylines. And, to those dudes that are out there freaking out that the main character in a video game may be a woman, you guys literally suck. The last GTA was with 3 dudes, and one of them was like a meth head living in a trailer. How is that immersive to me? I can do that in real life.
Right.
But you know what I can't be in real life? Like a Bonnie and Clyde situation. Like I'm very enthusiastic about this premise that they have for GTA 6. And, I told my wife, like I mentioned earlier, my wife's a Latina, about the new GTA. I was like, hey, so Rockstar's next game, GTA 6, will have a Latina lead. And, she was very enthusiastic about the concept. And this is somebody, my wife is not a gamer, right? I had to get her with a very compelling story centered game like Red Dead Redemption 2 to sit down with me. Like, she didn't play it, but she sat down with me for the whole story of that game.
Wow.
This is something that definitely like will have her a little bit more intrigued than how it's traditionally been. Not that she would like hate GTA 5. That was also a really good game, and I'm sure she would love the story. But it's something that shows that this environment is welcoming. And God knows we need that in the gaming community. Because I play COD, and it's absolutely fucking terrible at times, hearing all sorts of slurs and crappy comments through a headset because it's so prevalent in the environment. And it genuinely like sucks. I get that video games used to be like another boys club.
Yeah.
Because, it seems like the demographic of males, immediately jumped into video games a lot sooner than a lot more women did at first. But we're at that point now where, women play video games and should definitely be reflected in those stories that games tell. So the biggest thing I want to say in this is, fuck you misogynistic dicks that are absolutely giving the rest of us a bad rap and killing the enjoyment and excitement and things. And we could just be talking about like how dope the new premises, they're mixing things up, but no, we have to acknowledge the fact that these dudes that are just bitter, they're gonna make some crappy mod that removes women from the game. And
dude, I didn't think about that.
Like that's exactly what they're gonna do. Like they did it in Star Wars. Like, dude, they made the anti-social justice warrior cut of Star Wars, removed literally all women and like people of color from the film, which was so stupid. And like these people just, they suck. They sap the enjoyment out of things. Like you kill the vibe.
Right. Well, first I want to give a shout out to your wife for sitting down with you and going through the whole Red Dead Redemption 2 story like that. If anything, that's love right there, man. You got a good one.
Oh, dude,
That's
we
sick.
loved that game. It was a great bonding experience. Like to explain to her, listen, I have to stop real quick. Why? I gotta feed my horse. What do you mean? I was like, trust me, this game is immersive. It's like
Yeah.
real life.
Yeah, that game was sick, man. But
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
we didn't finish it though. We
Dude,
stopped after
yeah.
Arthur Morgan died. We were both very upset
Mhm.
that spoilers for those that haven't played, that 5-year-old game. But after Arthur Morgan died, we were both very bitter. Like, yo, what the hell? We
Damn.
loved Arthur. We were very upset that our character
Mhm.
was killed.
Yeah, I actually didn't finish it either. I got to. It's a long game, man. Like, I got to maybe we moved settlements and we were in like a whole nother place or something. And like at that point, I was so immersed, but like over time, when you have so many things going on, like you're just naturally going to kind of just fade out of a game that's taking an eternity long to finish. But I did want to go a little bit more into the topic though. It's so while this is new GTA 6 is coming, Rockstar as a company has gone through a shift as well. So Dan Hooser, I think that's how you pronounce the last name, the old creative director at Rockstar Games, left in 2019. And I guess something that gamers are afraid of is that with the change is that I don't know if you knew, but GTA 5 removed one of the game modes called Cops and Crooks after the George Floyd protest because I guess it's a mode that depicts the whole like but I didn't look enough into this game mode, but I would assume that it's not like something overt where it's like cops and a whole bunch of like black people or something. I would assume that GTA wouldn't be so crazy as to do that. But like kind of connecting that to like the real life is like I get it. I truly do that you want to be very what's the word, sympathetic towards what's happening. But at the end of the day, I think GTA 6, why it resonates with a lot of people is that it's sort of it is always held that priority that one, like we were talking about before, like the whole three characters. At the end of the day, like those characters are so authentic. Like everything that in GTA always just feels sort of, especially with GTA 5 because it's more like story reliant. It just felt always that we were in this world that felt kind of real. Besides the whole like you're running over pedestrians and like getting 5
Yeah.
stars. Like there's always such a appreciated authenticity of GTA 6. And I think what people are scared about is that with people called Rockstar before in 2019 when company before that was a boys club, and now that is more diverse. I'm just kind of interested in, are they scared now to sort of make GTA 6 that raunchiness that we sort of come to know from the series? Is it
Oh,
like
dude, it's gonna be raunchy.
you
You
think
know it
so?
is. There's still, dude, absolutely. Like, I bet you anything. Like, if you're playing this Latina female protagonist, I bet you can still go get all the hookers you want and have phenomenal virtual lesbian sex. If that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it's going to have like a grind to it. Like, if it's like as you're saying, kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde situation. Bonnie and Clyde were killers. Like, there's going to be, the crime that you want to see simulated in a video game. It's definitely going to be story driven. So I don't see any way, shape, or form how this could hurt it any more than, having the meth head dude from the last one. Sorry, I hated that character. What was his name?
Really? What
I
was his
hated
name?
him.
Let me look it up real quick. GTA 5 character. Yeah, I've been playing.
Absolutely despise that character. I wanted to play as the other two guys.
Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor. Yeah. My
You
goodness.
hated
I just
him?
wanted to, dude, I did not enjoy anything about that character. I thought that character was an awful person, but that does mean they did a good job in like creating a character that makes you feel something. Like I despised him so much. I wanted him to get shot by the other two characters.
But yeah, like at the end of the day, like if they just keep the authenticity of what the GTA series as a whole is, and it keeps going with that, and it doesn't change, because that's the thing too, is like it's not a bad thing that they want to take out more of the problematic stuff. Like I think they took out, like I remember in the article I read that they were just trying to take some of the things that were punching down at people, and I'm like that's fine, but like just don't go overboard, right? And I remember like going back to GTA 4, like they literally have a DLC called like the Ballad of Gay Tony. And it's like, well, maybe that, I don't know if that would slide today or whatever, but like, I think that was very reminiscent of just like how authentic they want to be with that story.
I think, in all honesty, people always have to recognize that if you're depicting like criminal elements and stuff like that in film and games, it's not going to be PC. Like I was watching The Departed the other day, right? And I
Right.
forgot like how much overt racism is in that movie. Like them using like these Irish dudes using slurs and stuff like that and talking in very demeaning fashions. But if I'm watching a movie and these people sound like they're trying to run for office, like censoring their speech, it's not immersive as a mafia movie. And GTA, like if this is like street level criminals, I expect them to have mentalities of, something that seems real as a street level criminal.
Right.
They're not going to be, the most hip with whatever else is going on. They're going to be assholes. They're going to have flaws that need to be demonstrated, which is why they're in the positions that they're in, making the choices that they're making. So as long as they don't take away the realism, like as long as it seems like realistic,
Mhm.
I'm with it.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
don't make it something that's like a false reality,
Mhm.
because you're right when you say GTA is kind of like grounded in a bit of reality. Like, yeah, you can just run people over and stuff like that, but the premise is you were in a city with actual things going on following the story. So
Mhm.
make it like an actual American city. I have heard
Right.
it's in Miami though,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
new
bro.
GTA, and oof,
So
I gotta
Florida,
say,
crazy people are in Florida. That's gonna be hilarious if they
mhm,
can like nail that. Like, just how much Florida is just like a cesspool of just weird stuff happening, right? The whole like Florida man
Florida
meme.
man. Dude,
But
watch there be like a mission that's just called Florida
Florida
Man or
man,
something like that.
that'll be dope. But
They
I actually
gotta
wanted
have
to
it.
I want to celebrate GTA real quick and just say like they sold since GTA 5 came out in like what 20. Let me see when it released. I remember I was in middle school when it released.
2013, I think.
Yeah, September 7th, 2013. I was so excited for that game because it was coming around my birthday. And I was like, that's like I was so because I think that was the first game I ever bought for my own money, which was kind of
Nice.
insane because I was a kid and it's a mature rated game. It's like um
Hmm.
yeah, ever since then it sold 165 million copies. It's been on multiple platforms. Like GTA 6 is just something that just keeps on going and just really can never stop until the eventual GTA 6. And I want to ask you real quick, like, what's your favorite GTA?
For
Boy, man, yeah, GTA 4, like, just to blush real quick, GTA 4 was such a special experience because that was the generation of gaming where I first got into online gaming. So that mix of GTA
hmm
4 and uh I remember vividly, like me and my brother would always go online and we would hit the airport and we were just like,
hmm
because everybody would congregate at the airport because the airports usually in GTA games are pretty just like lit, just fun things to do. But yeah, like just that whole time, like the music, I think that's where I got put on with Kanye. Well, not put on because
Oh,
my mom's
nice.
been listening to Kanye all the time, but like I remember in one of the radio stations they had what's that song called? Damn.
Wasn't
Um
it stronger?
they might be had stronger in it, but it was another one. It's You Can't Run Without Caesar. That,
Yeah.
that lyric or it's gonna drive me crazy. Uh what is it? It's something off of graduation, but yeah, like
I
they're
can't name the song name, but I know what you're talking about.
mhm. Yeah, but like GTA 4 was definitely my favorite as well. But I'm actually curious now, like I wonder if GTA is just more of a generational thing. So like it takes so long for each installment to come out that like your favorite
I don't
one's
think
probably
it's
gonna
just
be
GTA. I think it's all games in general. Like I've been
mhm.
waiting on the Elder Scrolls 6 for 11 years now, and they're telling me that it may be 15 since the last one. And
Ugh,
like at this point, I feel like GTA 7, the Elder Scrolls 7 will come out when I'm like 50.
yeah,
When I'm looking at
that's gotta suck.
retirement to, stay at
Right.
home, play Elder Scrolls 7.
Uh
And I feel like unless it's something like Assassin's Creed or COD where they're intentionally trying to pump out some mindless garbage year after year, yeah, but Rockstar, Bethesda, they really put their hearts and minds into these games, and that's why they're so
100%.
enjoyable and replayable
Hmm.
in comparison to things like COD and Assassin's Creed. I just want to go on the record also saying Assassin's Creed has sucked since like Assassin's Creed 3.
I agree with you because I didn't even like the first one. I hate stealth games with a passion, man. Like I cannot get past them. But I don't know if you knew, but
Says
I
with a
think
Foxhound logo
right.
behind.
I'm a poser, man. I'm telling you, I'm a poser. I love the Metal Gear universe. I just hate stealth games. I cannot get through them. But
I'm curious, whenever you play Metal Gear, were you just like running through the map, just like shooting everybody down?
see, that's the thing though. Like with stealth games, when I'm in it, like when I'm in the mood for a stealth game, or like when a new Metal Gear comes out around the corner, like every several decades, whatever. you know, you're in it, right? You're in the mood to be stealthy. You're in the mood to like just really just like fox around. And then you spend 40 minutes on a level you're going really slow about, then you get caught, you mess up, then you have to do that whole thing over again. I just get it's just such a frustrating experience. I'm just like, man, I can't do this. But that's
I
my
can understand those games. I feel like getting my friends into Metal Gear was so hard growing up. I
Mhm.
loved those games. Like I told you, I have a tattoo from the games on my body,
Mhm.
and it is so unappealing to newcomers.
It really is, man. That's why they need to do a reboot. I'm ready for a Metal Gear 1 reboot. So
They
ready.
need to get on it.
Or at least a
It
movie or
would
something.
it would sell millions of copies, no doubt.
Right.
In this day and age, a story-driven game with such a compelling story,
Mhm.
betrayal, the love interest in Meryl. And I don't know if you remember in the original Metal Gear Solid, like your choices mattered.
Really?
Like if you do not win the torture sequence and you give up, Meryl dies.
Mm.
They kill her. But if you succeed and resist the torture scene by mashing your buttons super fast,
Right.
crazy fingers, Meryl's alive and she's the one that helps you at the end of the game instead of Otacon, which is
Mm.
supposed to be the actual ending. So you're not supposed to lose that in canon. But some people are like, screw this, I'm not ruining my controller,
Right.
to not get shocked to death.
Exactly. Well, speaking of badass women like Meryl, we gotta talk about the new Prey movie that dropped on Hulu. Caleb, I know you've been looking forward to this. I want you to kick this off for us.
Okay, so Prey released 4 or 5 days ago on
Mhm,
Hulu.
Friday.
It is
August 5th.
already the most viewed film on Hulu, and for good
Congratulations.
reason.
Right.
I feel like the hype coming into it wasn't, I don't feel like it was marketed so much.
Not at
I feel
all.
like the marketing was very straightforward. Like, listen, you're going to get an action film with a predator and a badass indigenous woman. And that was the premise. That's all I knew. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm excited to check it out. Hopefully it's not terrible like The Predator, which came
Ooh,
out a few years ago,
2018.
which was
Right.
awful movie.
Gosh.
And
Ooh.
this movie crushed expectations. I feel like it was a mix of Predator meets John Wick, but
Mm.
in 1716. It was
Right.
so crazy. Like the
Mhm.
kill scenes are over the top, like you would want.
Right.
The way she fights and has to use her brain to overcome this insurmountable obstacle. And
Mhm.
also seeing these colonizers like get what's coming to them was immensely gratifying.
Yeah.
Like I give that movie a solid B+, A- range just because it doesn't leave you wanting for anything else. You get your
Mhm.
popcorn, you turn your brain off, and you just enjoy the show, and it's a spectacle at home too, no less.
Right. I totally agree with you, man. Like I came into this movie with no expectations at all. And that's kind of rare in 2022, where like you just see so many trailers, you got so many leads going on. Like I literally went into the movie with nothing. I know it was in my list of like what I'm looking forward to, along with like, actually August 5th was like a big zone for like new things. Like I know the Sandman came out in Netflix and I know Prey came out. So I was just looking forward to watch those two and like watch this movie late at night. I was like, okay, let's turn it on. Let's see what's gonna be. And like going through that whole movie, I was just so excited the whole time. I did want to get a little game going. So we had the cast, right? We had Amber Midthunder.
Remember Mid Thunder?
Yeah, awesome last name. Naru played Naru, the main protagonist of the film. Dakota Beavers, which who's played Tabe in the film. I think they're pronouncing that right, which is Naru's
Yeah, it
brother.
was her brother.
Mm-hmm. And we had Dane Deligro, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He played the Predator. And Caleb, I want you to guess how tall this motherfucker is. Because he played, and take note, he played the Predator. No, I guess it was like no sort of height, effects.
Is it a trick? Because I want to say like 7'2".
Ooh, you're close. He's 6'9".
Holy cow.
Yeah,
My
I was
goodness.
like, bro, they went all out. I never heard this guy before, but like looking at this, I was like, wow. That is a
Definitely
tall
was
bro.
an imposing presence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like we're kind of blessed in recent years where I feel like filmmakers of horror films, whenever they're, going with established IP, they learn from their mistakes very quick. Like the Halloween requels,
Oh yeah.
phenomenal. The new Scream, phenomenal. And then this is a huge step up from the last Predator movie. Like every mistake learned from. And this Predator by Dan DeLegro was what a presence. Like
Mm-hmm.
you never really felt like she was for sure gonna make it.
I don't agree,
You
man. Like,
you thought she was always gonna make it?
well, no, here's the thing. I think at least because here's the thing. I think if you really want to enjoy this movie, I think you do have to suspend some sort of disbelief, right? I mean, look at like what the Predator is like an alien trying to like I don't even know the whole mythos of the alien or the Predator mythos, but I'm sure it's like he wants to go to different worlds and prove that he is the Predator. He wants to prove that he's the number one, hunter out there. And like, bro, how do you go from this guy punching a bear, knocking him out, or like killing him essentially, picking him up, like having the blood across his face, and then that final fight? I mean, granted, I guess she was invisible to him, but like this 100-pound woman, like just like pouncing on him and just like you couldn't like pick her up and like that's like the whole plot number thing. And that's what I'm talking about. Like if you just spend this on this movie is incredible, but and like then like there was so many scenes that like infuriated me because like when because I want to give props too. Like after that bear scene, once you see like the Predator like drenched in blood and like his whole like figure is coming out. That movie does not stop. It just keeps going. It's like because I remember in the beginning I was like, it's going a little slow, but like they were leading up to it, and like after that scene, it just goes and goes and goes. I'm like, yes, this is what I mean. But like the way that she literally got, well, not got everybody killed, but like she didn't when they were fighting the two tribesmen at first. Like just like the decisions were just like, oh my god, like you did not try to help them at all. Like literally just like I recall one scene where like she's literally just damn near looking at the guy as like he gets his legs cut off, and like I'm just like, dude, like at least try to throw one of the tomahawks at him or something. And then it was like, oh, come on, man.
Well, at the point where she was finally getting him, like we were talking about, where she was just like repeatedly like attacking him on top of him, he had already been like stabbed through the chest by her brother. And I think that his targeting system had already been like taken from him. And I feel like that's something very commonplace in all the Predator movies. Like if you remove their targeting system, they are not as as powerful as they should be. Like they use that thing kind of as a crutch. It makes them OP in every film they're in. Like even whenever it was the old Schwarzenegger Predator film, like yeah, these dudes are super trained mercenaries, that don't miss a shot. But this guy has a freaking laser cannon that has aimbot. Right? That can shoot through a tree and hit you. Like, come on, that's so. And you have like heat sensors.
Tell me about it. Like, I was like, throughout that whole movie, I just got pissed every time the Predator like just turned invisible. I'm like, dude, you coward! Like, sit up here and like fight with these animals and like humans. Like, you're going invisible. I'm like, dude, you are.
Dude, it's kind of like. I think they do it on purpose though, because think about how human beings hunt. We put on camo and we go sit in a tree and wait for like an unsuspecting deer or whatever, and then we get it from the side. Like, ain't no person in fucking like Africa trying to hunt a lion with their bare hands and a knife.
But
like,
right,
they
that's
hide
the thing
in
about
corners.
The Predator, though. It's like he wants to be the big dog, and it's like his whole thing is that he kills them, gets the skeleton, rips out the spinal cord. He's like screams into the air, and like he's the big dog. He's the Andrew Tate of the universe, right?
Oh my god.
It is just
I feel like the Predator is more akin to like those rich poachers that you see in Africa that will like pose next to the dead lion they shot. It's like, dude, you shot that thing from a corner. It wasn't a fair fight.
Right.
And like that's what it is when they take the skeleton. It's like a trophy.
Right.
Because whenever these dudes go 1v1, like I don't know if you remember Predators, where they were on the planet. There was like a whole hunting grounds. You had the Japanese dude with the katana 1v1 the Predator without his, crutches. Even though the Predator is double this dude's size, still ends in a draw because they both killed each other.
Wow.
Like they have so much, protection to keep them lethal whenever they're hunting because, they without it, they're just equivalent to a really, really strong guy, it seems like. A strong 6'9" dude.
Right. And actually, me being a poser again, right? I saw the Predator in 2018, can barely remember it. So I guess I, talked about that movie that I can barely remember it. But like, it seems like you've seen the Predator sort of filmography. Like, I'm curious, where does this land for you in terms of like quality?
Oh, dude, this is definitely the best one since the original.
Sheesh.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. It has so much of the same qualities that made the original great. It's not so gimmicky, kind of like the second, where it's like the Predator, but in the city. So increase the body counts,
Right.
It's not terrible like the Predator, and Predators was good. Like, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. This one was just better.
Yeah.
Like, even though I feel like there wasn't as much action, like the quality of these action scenes, like when I compare it to John
Dude.
Wick, that is a compliment because John Wick produces some of the best action scenes in the cinema world right now.
Mhm.
And like that stuff was so slick, so well choreographed. I was watching it at home, like, oh shit, they did
Right.
that.
You know how much this budget was for this film? God, I don't.
I think it was like 90 mil. Maybe I'm actually thinking about it.
Dude, DC Discovery needs to look at this and be like, hey, the smaller projects that go into streaming service work, man. I mean, maybe talking less about Hulu because like I know Hulu isn't super popping in terms of original stuff, but like it works. Like you don't have to scrap your $90 million projects because you think it's going to be quote unquote bad. Like just let it out there in the wild. Even if it's bad, it's a project that you spend that much money on, right?
You know, honestly, they should have put this movie in theaters. And I made a face just a second ago while I was pulling up how much the film cost to make. I could not find how much it cost, but the top article, if you Google Prey budget, is why Prey likely would have struggled in theaters. I don't agree with that at all. I think it would have made its money back and then some, without a doubt, because it's just, you know, something that you can enjoy. Get the tub of popcorn, like.
Right.
Throw a cocktail back, you know, if you're into that stuff, smoke a J in the parking lot and just go in and have a great time.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this seems like a perfect like. I almost kind of wish it was like a release in October. This will be like a perfect little get together, like you know, Halloween sort of like weekend movie. Just to, like sit down, enjoy some popcorn, and just like mess around, man. This will be like it's a
Yeah,
perfect vibe.
get some friends together and just go, oh shit, whenever anything
right.
crazy
Just look at the
happens.
explosions and just like awe it, man. But I did want to
So,
ask you a question about Alien Mythos real quick. I don't know if you know, but
mhm.
like, so is the way the Alien works is that so the reason so I was like knowing what I know about the Predator from like recent sort of like stuff that he's kind of OP in terms of like technology. So the big thing in this is that he's kind of like primitive in a way. Like he has like bolts of like sort of like arrows, right, in his little launcher arm cannon thing. So is the way that the Predator works is that he's like is it just the reason why he has that because is this like a origin story in a way? Like the first Predator?
No, in a way, it's like a continuation because, like, what this adds to the Predator lore is you realize that the Predators are learning from their elves. Like, he has the guided arrows, but it gets replaced with a plasma cannon that I don't think people can actually shoot. I think only the Predator itself can shoot. And we see in this film, spoilers for everybody, real quick, I'm definitely dropping a spoiler. She uses the arrow targeting system against him.
Yeah.
You know, so we see the technology improve and also have those fail safes included. And with the Predator lore, they are always learning. And I feel like you can see that even his their helmets have improved because this one was very different. Not gonna say I thought this was the best looking Predator.
Yeah.
You know, because it was definitely a little toned down in comparison because, you know, 200 years passed between this one and the original. But it was, I don't know, I feel like it added a lot to the lore while doing very minimal. It wasn't in your face like, hey, guys, we're adding to the canon by doing this. It was just very, you know, casual. This was a slick, good film. They touched on all points, man. Like, how can you hate it?
Yeah, it's literally like just a project that's like, that's like one of the best feelings for me is like when a project is just put out there and then like especially when it's good, like it is something that would just put out that you just it's just something to enjoy. It's like not something that you want to sit there and like write out theory. Well, actually theory is about like how it kind of connects to the world, but like just sort of like think too hard about it. It's something you just sit down and just enjoy and like put the popcorn on, like we said, just really just give it cool little watch with friends, family, even by yourself, however you want to watch it, because like this is so rich, like it's so unique that it is on streaming services, right? You don't have to spend the trek to go to a movie theater and spend those prices.
You know, there's something else that made this film unique. It's the first film to have a dub in Comanche.
Yeah, that's sick.
And I gotta say, I follow a lot of people on like native TikTok, right? And I gotta say, this is something that really demonstrates how diversity and inclusion in how you tell stories and what angles you're approaching stories from really is such a huge positive because I feel like, you know, for those that know what native TikTok is, it's indigenous creators in the United States and Canada, and also from other places around the world, Aboriginal peoples. And these people have had a history in the past few hundred years has been particularly rough. And like conditions on reservations and such like that today are not good. So a lot of the content is talking about like problems and how to like overcome them and struggle together as a community to improve their lives and reach a better world. And then Prey dropped, and all these awesome, like happy as hell
Yeah.
TikToks, just like these people like making great jokes, like, and even feeling like you could tell like a sense of pride in it, like the way they were joking, like they felt awesome that they were depicted in a positive way. And I can directly contrast this with how I grew up seeing how indigenous people were depicted in film. I was that kid that, my grandpa was like, you need to watch John Wayne. So, I don't remember if before this film I ever really saw movies that, had action scenes with indigenous people where they weren't just like, the victims getting shot by John Wayne, you
Right.
know, really, awful stuff in retrospect. So yeah, I feel like this was a huge W and a lot of that community seemed to enjoy it. So on top of it being a great film, just a good feeling
Right.
all the way around from everything that comes from this film. So recommend it to everybody.
Mhm. Especially on top of that, that the character Naru, like, she's put into that role of like, the caregiver and like the gatherer or whatever. And like her whole thing is like she wants to prove that she can be a warrior. And like, despite her getting her like entire like tribesmen killed, and I find that funny, like she comes
They
back
got
with the head.
themselves killed, dude.
What?
They
No,
got
no, what?
themselves
Well,
killed, man.
here's the thing, right? I was thinking about it, right? One, if she never even did try to hunt the predator would have got them. So like either way, like they would probably end up all dying. But like I just find it funny that like at the end of the day, like she got the predator killed, she comes back with the head. She comes back to a tribe with like no more fucking warriors left. So I'm just like, well, guess what? Like when you get attacked, like you got one person that can kill a predator, but like they have like a whole army coming in. But but just that whole premise, what I'm trying to say is like that is like it's just really dope. There's someone trying to break through and like go after something, even though it's something way bigger than she can handle. It is like there's that whole thing of her that journey and stuff. But I didn't want to ask you that. I want to ask you what was your favorite scene? Some super big. What's your favorite scene in the movie?
As much as I loved every part that Amber Midthunder was in the film, the Predator going nuts on the colonizers was such a
Dude,
dope
it was hilarious
sequence.
too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like those guys totally deserved it. Like, so you feel no guilt in just watching these dudes get brutally massacred by the Predator, and the way they did it so slick, like the shield kill in the tree,
Oh
where
my
he has
god.
that dude pinned up against a tree. I was like,
Lose my mind,
sick
right?
moment.
Right.
Yeah,
Especially
it was
like
so sick.
when dude had like the little John Wilkes Booth pistol and like he shot
Mhm.
him like he just like they did like the standoff and he just like just blow his head like that was just, it was such a it was really funny.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, that scene reminded me of the scene of another recent film, Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
There's the girl in that film that's like shooting that Michael Myers. He just kicks the door and it knocks the
Oh
pistol back, and she shoots herself in the face. Like it was the
dude.
exact vibe I got. Like you kind of knew that was coming when he aimed at him,
Mhm.
but it's
Exactly.
still so like satisfying to see something like that depicted on screen. It's so hilarious.
Right. Well, my favorite scene, I already said it, but like that scene when like Naru and her dog, I forgot the dog's name, but they were hunting they were trying to hunt I think they were trying to look for the predator, but they ended up coming across this gigantic grizzly bear. And like when she was running from the grizzly bear, when it eventually knew that she was there, the whole like when she was like in like the dam, and then the grizzly bear was just trying to get at her, and the predator just like mauls this bear like they're into a fight. He thought that the bear won, and then I don't know I think the bear ran at him. He just punched him. He did something to the bear. I think he punched him. It sounded like a punch. He just grabs it over his head and like that's something I love about
I think
the
he
predator.
gutted it, dude.
Yeah. And like he just makes the display of this kill that was which he earned, like it was like a duke out between this huge monster. And it's like he just makes it a scene that he killed this thing that was so hard. And it's like, just seeing the blood rush down his body, just to see the silhouette. It was just a perfect introduction to the predator itself. Yeah, that was my favorite scene.
They had a great reveal for it. Like I felt like they kept it cloaked just long enough.
Just enough.
And I feel like this is a callback to the original Alien because I feel like that that slow burn to the reveal is where a lot of horror movies have learned from is the original Alien. Because in the original Alien, I think it's the 22-minute mark before you
Wow.
finally see an alien. Like they start establishing characters, what's going on, really build. They don't just show you. You got to wait for that money shot.
Mhm.
Like hell, they did that with Godzilla in 2014. I don't know if you remember, like when it finally like stood up and roared, and it was the big reveal, and you're in this cinema and everything's shaking because it's so
Right.
loud, and you're just like,
Just sitting in your chair like, yes, this is what I'm here for. But yeah,
yeah, the wait is always worth it, man.
100%. But you know, just ending this off, I want to get your final rating on the movie. I think you did it before, but just say it again. 1 out of 5. What are you rating this thing?
I'm gonna give it a 90 out of 100.
Okay,
So
that's
A minus. Like I
yeah.
said, B plus A minus range, but I'll commit 90 out of 100.
I'm gonna have to come in with. I'll give it a solid like 80. I think it's a solid B. Right. I really did like this. I don't think it was like super great like a lot of people think it is. I can totally see where you guys are coming from, but like I think it's a solid movie. It's something I wouldn't say like avoid it, but I would definitely say if you have some time, sit down and watch this movie, especially with some friends, especially if you can find some friends to watch it, because it's way better to watch it with friends. Like just like seeing those death scenes. That's at the end of the day, like the Predator thing, you want to see those gory death scenes, right? So Predator, I think we are Prey rather. I think we both recommend it for you guys to see.
Hell, make it a drinking game. Drink every time the Predator kills somebody, because halfway through that movie, you're gonna be passed out.
Exactly, right? Right. Fun times. But you know, to wrap up the podcast, we want to bring back the segment we bring back every month. What are we looking forward to? Caleb, what are you looking forward to this month, man?
So by far the most I'm looking forward to the ending of the new Halloween movies. Halloween ends.
That's in October, right?
Yes, and oh my goodness, dude, I need to plug in my laptop. Whoops.
Okay, that's fine. Well, while you're doing that, I want to say what I'm looking forward to. You know, I'm also looking forward to the Halloween ending, if we can even really call it ending, because I'm sure they're going to try to reboot it somehow. But that's in October. In August, I was looking forward to the Sandman and Prey, but those already came out. But we're looking forward to She-Hulk. That's coming out next week. House of Dragons, the Game of Thrones, you know, continuing sort of prequel thing. And then we got Dragon Ball Super Superhero, which is a super lame title, but I'm actually going on to the whole poser thing again. I have not watched Game of Thrones the whole season 1 through 8, so I'm going to House and Dragons completely blind. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Did you ever finish Game of Thrones?
Here's the thing, like I was literally sitting there last night, I'm like, bro, I really want to watch this thing before House of Dragons. But I got so far in it back in the day, I was looking at to where I stopped. I was at like season 2 at like the later episodes. And it's like I would totally start over. But like these ones are like hour-long episodes. I have to get back to where I was before. I'm like, you know, I'll just start with House of Dragons. So
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna watch House of Dragons because everybody told me Game of Thrones ending was terrible. So I don't know why I would want to continue a story that was ended terribly.
well, hold on. Let me sell you a little bit. So I believe who's the creator of Game of Thrones is George R. R. Martin.
George R. R. Martin. Yep.
Apparently, he co-signed this series during Comic-Con, saying that he was relatively surprised how good it was. So maybe
because he's gonna get a royalty check from
True, right? You have to sell it.
Hell, if I wrote a high grossing film series and then it said, hey, spinoff's coming out, and I saw it was the worst thing ever, I would go on Twitter and be like, guys, spinoff is everything you would ever want, no matter how bad it is.
But he did admit that season 8 wasn't good, right? So like there's some yeah. He has some authenticity there at least.
I feel like sometimes whenever an L is so prominent, like you just look worse being in denial. It was an awful, awful reaction.
But yeah, like I stated what I was excited for. Yeah, I don't know if you heard everything, but just going over.
Yeah, I heard.
Okay, so is there any overlap there, or what are you excited for?
Oh, there's most certainly some overlap. Like I'm very hyped for She-Hulk. Like I'm hoping that that's the MCU show that's just going to crush it for me and give me that feeling I had when I was watching Loki, where it's like, yes, can't wait for next week. Especially considering Better Call Saul ends next week, and the Breaking. It's amazing. It's so good. Yeah. Oh my goodness, it is amazing. The Breaking Bad universe is some of the best TV I've ever watched. I would akin it to modern Shakespeare. Like it's gonna have a lasting impact forever for how good it
Literally,
is. I
like
know
Breaking Bad is like is like one of the few shows where I'm like, I wish I had memory loss of me ever watching that show so I could watch it again. It's oh my, Breaking Bad is probably my. It's hard to say it's my favorite TV show of all time, but it's definitely up there in like competition with everything else. So
oh,
good.
it's definitively mine.
Yeah. Really?
Nothing,
Okay.
nothing
I
has
totally
come
agree with you, man.
close.
I can totally sympathize with you with that. But did you watch
Like
El Camino? The
I
Netflix?
did, and I loved it.
Okay.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I'm not gonna I would never compare El Camino to like another movie because it felt like a long TV episode,
Right.
you know, but it was still fantastic for what it was. Like, did we need El Camino? No, because Jesse driving off is, just as much of an ending. We didn't need the clarifiers for what he did after, but they
Right.
still crushed it. And Better Call Saul has been immaculate television. Like Vince Gilligan has this incredible ability to create characters that feel so real. Like one character died this season. I'm not going to name names because you haven't watched it and it's a huge deal, but like it hurt to see them die. And I didn't think that they were a good person or a bad person. They'd be somebody in real life that'd be like, you're kind of like a douchebag, you're kind of phony. But like them dying and the way they died and how unjust it was, like it was gut wrenching. Me and my wife, after
Damn.
that episode ended, were like, no, like this is fucked up. I need to go like complain or something, like petition the president, say,
Right.
hey, yo, this is like somebody real died. And I think that's an impressive thing to do. So I definitely need something to fill that void once Better Call Saul is over because it's going to leave a huge hole. So
Right.
I'm hoping She-Hulk can definitely fill my time. But we talked about our reactions to the trailer. I've got a good vibe, man. I've got a good vibe about it.
Yeah, I'm looking
Outside
forward
of
to that.
She-Hulk, I'm looking forward to Clerks 3 on
Clerks.
September 13th.
Let's
Yep.
see. Clerks.
Third Clerks, Kevin Smith, and the duo is back. Jay and Silent Bob. The third Clerks movie.
Wait, tell me. I've never heard about this. Like, what's Clerks?
You've never heard of Clerks?
Uh-uh.
Okay, you need to watch Clerks like right after this, and you'll thank me. It's freaking hilarious.
Sell me on it. Sell me on it.
Okay. Kevin Smith was a film student, no cash, no nothing, and he had a script that he believed in. And this is, the inspirational Hollywood story. Couldn't get anybody to back it. And he said, screw it. I'm going to max out all of my credit cards, get some funding, and make this movie. And I think they made it on like a budget of like 50 G's.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so good that Kevin Smith is now the person that, made all of these different types of movies that you've heard of, like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Chasing Amy, which if we're ever going to talk about a movie that cannot be done today, that is definitely a movie that cannot be done today. A lot of other films, and I remember whenever he announced that he was making Clerks 3, like he uploaded, the first page, I think, on his social media account. So I've been following, waiting for this film to come out. So the hype's there. I'm definitely excited for anything Kevin Smith does.
Perfect.
Grant, I will say this. I'm going to be a little intrigued because Kevin Smith said he stopped smoking marijuana. And I feel like comedians or filmmaking comedians, whatever you call people that make comedy films, would you call them comedians? Like, is Will Ferrell a comedian?
I would say so. So here's the thing. I'm sure not all comedy writers have
Do stand up.
do stand up, but I'm sure that all stand-ups do like sort of writing that they could potentially do a comedy film. So like I do wonder if there's some overlap there. Huh.
Yeah, honestly, that question feels so profound that it distracted me.
Yeah.
Like, do we call comedic actors comedians? Like, I feel like it's a little bit disrespecting to the craft of acting to like,
right.
miscall them, but I don't know. Like, I feel like you would have to be something like that. But going back to what I said, Kevin Smith quit smoking weed a few years back, and I think this will be his first, film made without him, having any cannabis in the writing process. So I wonder how that will transfer to writing a comedy film.
Right.
So maybe it has like a little bit of a different vibe.
Yeah. Is this his first project? 'Cause I remember he was going through like some pretty bad health issues too. So is this like his first project since that whole like battle, whatever he's doing?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was in between the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. which came out like I think 2019, 2020. But who knows, dude? Kevin Smith actually goes around the country with his films and does like Q&A sessions. Maybe he ends up in St. Louis. We could swing by and see him talk about his film and then watch his movie. That'd be sick.
Well, what's the crew about? Our clerk, sorry. What's it about?
It's about, gas station clerks, like their conversations and interactions over a day. So think of something kind of like My Dinner with Andre, but funny. As a matter of fact, I want to share a clip with you, just one joke from the film, if I can find it. Because one of my like, all-time favorite jokes in any movie.
Looking at like sort of like the pictures of clerks, it sort of just reminds me of something that could be like Office-ified, or just like sort of that Office sort of like camera angles and like sort of humor.
It's kind of similar, but not exact. Kevin Smith definitely has his own type of brand of comedy. But as you can see, this is what I typed into freaking YouTube, or if it's up yet.
I can't see it yet.
Oh no, it actually froze my computer to do this.
There you go.
But what I had to type in to find this was Clerk Sucks Dick.
Dan is old.
Not so old. I think he came out in 94, yeah. Ugh, advertisements.
Right. I can't hear the audio, by the way. I can't hear the audio. Caleb? I can hear. Yeah, I can hear you.
Whoops, technical issue, my bad. Can you
There
hear the screen share?
Let me unpause it real quick. I can't hear it now.
Okay, hang on one second. I think I know what the issue is. Yeah, definitely need to cut this out in the editing process. Hang on, share screen. That's it, share sound. My bad.
You're good.
At least we can skip the ad at this point now.
You sucked that guy's dick?
Yeah, how do you
Already
think?
starting out crazy.
Wait, but you said you only had sex with 3 different guys. You never mentioned him.
Because I never had sex with him.
You sucked his dick.
We went out a few times. We never had sex, but we fooled around.
Oh my God, why did you tell me you only had sex with 3 different guys?
Because I did only have sex with 3 different guys. That doesn't mean I didn't just go with people.
Oh my God, I feel so nauseous.
Sorry, Dante. I thought you understood.
I did understand. I understood that you had sex with 3 different guys, and that's all you said.
Please calm down.
How many?
Dante.
How many dicks have you sucked?
Go.
How many?
How many
Shut
dicks
up
have you
a second
sucked?
and I'll tell you. Jesus. I didn't freak out like this when you told me how many girls you fucked.
This is different. This is important. How many? Well?
Something like 36.
What? Something like 36?
Lower your voice.
Wait, what is that anyway? Something like 36. Does that include me?
That good?
37.
I'm 37?
Bruh.
Class.
Oh my God. 37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
Hey, where you going?
Hey, listen, jerk, until today, you never even knew how many guys I slept with because you never even bothered to ask. Then you act all nonchalant about fucking 12 different girls. Well, I never had sex with 12 different guys.
No, but you sucked enough dick.
Yeah, I went down on a few guys.
A few?
And one of those guys was you, the last one I might add, which if you're too stupid to comprehend means that I've been faithful to you since we met. All the other guys I went with before I met you. So if you want to have a complex about it, go ahead. But don't look at me like I'm the town whore because you were plenty busy yourself before you met me.
Well, why did you have to suck their dick? I mean, why couldn't you sleep with them like any other decent person?
Because going down isn't a big deal. I used to like a guy we'd make out and sooner or later I'd go down on him. But I only had sex with the guys I loved.
I feel sick.
I love you. Don't feel sick.
Every time I kiss you, I'm gonna taste 36 other guys.
Hey, you be a bit more rational.
I'm 37. I just can't.
Goodbye, Dante.
Dude. I actually want to see this movie now.
Dude, that's one of my all-time favorite jokes. My girls just sucked 37 dicks in a row.
Dude,
In a
that's so,
row.
that's literally so real though. Like if some guy was just like in anguish right now, like actually probably wouldn't say like what probably wouldn't say that. You probably say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, bro." Like he'd be like, "In a row?" Nah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, it's a fantastic comedy film. I think it's only like an hour, 30 minutes, but you can definitely tell this is a dude with his friends making a movie, but they just so happen to make one of the best comedy films ever made.
Right.
Like, talk about believing in yourself right there.
Mhm. Was there anything
My
else you're
man
looking
went into
forward to?
debt. Let me see here. I did have my list pulled up. But off the top of my head, Halloween Ends is definitely up there.
Mhm.
Like, I cannot even stress how excited I am for them to finally conclude this new trilogy. I thought the reboots have been immaculate, so I'm very excited. I'm excited for the horror film Smile. I'm not sure if you heard
Oh,
saw
yeah.
the trailer for it,
Mhm.
but interesting concept. Maybe terrible, like some horror
Execution?
films really are.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But that's all coming out over the next month, so I'm hyped. Feel like it's been a great year for movies and TV shows. To be honest, man.
100%. Yeah, we have for the rest of 2022, we're looking at some really cool projects. Like we saw in the review, not review, the reaction video. A lot of stuff we're looking forward to, man. Whole bunch of stuff coming out. But
A lot of stuff, man.
that is episode 5 of the Pop Cult Cast. We want to hear what you guys think, especially talk about Prey a little bit. I want to hear you guys' opinions in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think about Will Smith and his whole, marriage escapades and everything going on with him. But that's in episode 5. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.